Have you ever walked into a room and feel like you didn't belong? Like everyone else was given a manual and you were just trying to figure things out? This is how third-generation immigrants feel day to day. To be a third-generation immigrant is also to feel that there isn't room for failure because those before you devoted their entire lives for your success. Our parents left their countries, their families, their homes, looking for a better future for them and their children. They had to work really hard jobs like construction, cleaning, serving, just to provide their children opportunities they never had. Us, those children, spent 20 years of our lives studying, going to a good university, thinking that after we will get an amazing job and we will reach that better future we always talk about. But is it really the case? The answer is no. It's not that simple. Building a successful career as a third-generation immigrant comes with challenges that no one prepares us for. And today, I want to highlight 4 of the major barriers we face: fear of failure, lack of representation, lack of connection, and lack of confidence. Barrier 1, fear of failure. When you are the first person in your family to have access to higher education, to work in an office job, and even the opportunity to break the cycle, there is pressure, and sometimes you feel that there isn't even room for failure. And this is not true, but this is how we feel because we have seen how our parents had nothing but still managed to give us everything for us to build a better life. I saw my parents waking up at 4 a.m., working late, missing holidays, and even being mistreated at work. And they never put pressure on me, but how could I not feel it when I saw the daily sacrifices? All I ever wanted was to make these sacrifices worth it and build a new legacy in my family, one built on financial stability and freedom. When I was growing up in this little town in Spain, all I ever wanted was to become a doctor. Partly because I wanted to help children from minority groups and children from underdeveloped countries, but partly because that's the ultimate immigrant parent dream, right? This fear of failure that we feel sometimes is true that in parts come from us wanting to honor our parents' efforts, but do we really have any other option that is not success? Most of the time, third-generation immigrants come from a background with no strong networks, and also we don't come from generational wealth. And for us, even the smallest mistakes feel catastrophic. For some of you, this might sound irrational, but the way that our thought process works is like the following. If I fail this exam, I won't graduate, I won't get a good job, and I'll disappoint my entire family. And this fear turns us into overachievers. And most of the times we will sacrifice our time, our well-being, and even our health to avoid this catastrophic scenario in our heads. Now, I'm 3 years into my professional life, and to my surprise, this catastrophic scenario I feared isn't real. It doesn't work like this. Failing an exam won't make your parents love you any less, or making a mistake at work won't ruin your career. As I was saying before, while growing up, all I ever wanted was to become a doctor. And I devoted myself to my studies, excel academically year over year, but I didn't get enough score to get into medical school. I was very close, but I didn't. At that point, it felt like the biggest failure of my life. I thought I disappointed my entire family, and I thought I would never recover from it. But in hindsight, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. That failure at that point led me to London, where I'm building a career I'm passionate about, to learn multiple languages, and most importantly, to find my true passion, which is helping young immigrants to build successful careers through the charity I'm part of, through my projects, and through my voice. That failure was actually a redirection to what it was meant to be for me. And through it all, not for a single second, my family was anything less than proud. With our hard work, dedication, and determination, we are making our parents' sacrifices worth it every day. Barrier 2, the lack of representation. As if that fear of failure wasn't enough. First-generation immigrants also have to carry the weight of invisibility. Most of the times, we are the first person in our families to enter industries like technology, finance, or law, because our parents, economic migrants, they had to work manual jobs just to provide for their families. Survival came first for them, and career aspirations came second. Also, we rarely see people who look like us in the jobs we dream of, and that hurts. That makes us think that we can't do it either and we do not belong there. When I was a kid, every time I went to school, to a hospital, to an office, I actively looked in every room I could for a doctor, for a teacher, for a lawyer who looked like me, and I never found one. I can't forget how it made me feel. I remember clearly thinking, I've never seen a Latina doctor, teacher, or lawyer who looks like me. Maybe these type of jobs are not for me. Maybe I don't belong here. And I almost believed it, but I didn't, and that's the only reason why I'm here today. But the truth is, this lack of representation stops many first-generation immigrants. I'm part of a charity that aims to support young Latin Americans in the UK with their career development and education. And through our mentorship program, I've heard and seen many demoralized young Latin Americans thinking that they can't access high-skilled jobs, that they can't be business owners, or they can't be the leaders of the next generation. This is why representation matters. So if you are an immigrant or part of a minority group, raise your voice and become that role model you once needed, because you don't know how many people you could be inspiring every day. Barrier 3, lack of connections. Representation alone is not enough. Even when we start to believe that we belong to those places, we face another barrier, which is the equal access to opportunities. For generation immigrants, we do lack connections. And we always hear this quote that your network is your net worth. Connections can have a huge impact in your career, whether it's getting a referral, whether it's receiving mentorship, or simply hearing about an opportunity before it even opens up. Something I had to learn the really hard way, and this is very different to what an immigrant family teaches you, is that talent and hard work takes you far, but connections will take you farther in life. When I arrived to the UK for the first time, I didn't know one single person in this country. I had no mentors, no guidance, no idea where to begin. But one day, almost by accident, at university, I met this young professional who just landed an amazing job at a big company. She didn't know me at all or where I was coming from, but still she gave me 30 minutes of her time that changed the trajectory of my life. She answered all my questions, from how to apply to top companies, how to write a proper CV, or even how to go through interview processes. That was, surprisingly enough, the first career conversation I ever had in my life. And in those 30 minutes, I learned more about career development that I never did. And that showed me the power of connecting with people. Without these connections, we're missing career conversations, industry knowledge, and opportunities that are granted and others take for granted. But the good thing for first-generation immigrants is that nowadays, you don't have to rely on your direct family or your social circle to have access to these opportunities. With platforms like LinkedIn, you can create your own networks. You can reach out to people who are working already in industries you're interested in, and you can ask them for career advice. The truth is, and don't take this personally, not everyone will reply. But if one does, your life can change completely. The only reason why I'm building a career here in the UK and today I have a job is because when I was looking to start my career in the UK, I messaged over 100 recruiters and hiring managers on LinkedIn, and just one recruiter replied. But that reply turned into an interview, and that interview led to my first job in the UK. The last one is the lack of confidence. Sometimes we are the first ones who tell ourselves that we can do it and that we do not belong to different places. We don't apply for a job that requires 3 years of experience because we only have 2.5. We don't ask for a promotion because we think that someone else is more qualified. Or we don't ask for a raise because we assume that we don't deserve it yet. But here's the truth. If you don't ask, the answer will be always no. First-generation immigrants lack confidence because we see being an immigrant as a disadvantage. But let me tell you something. Being an immigrant is not a disadvantage. It can be also a superpower. It's all about the perspective and the way that you see things. When I was looking to kick off my career here in the UK, I doubted myself constantly. All I could think of was English is not my first language, I have an accent, no one will hire me, or I'm an immigrant, why would they choose me over someone else who was born here? But then I started to think and understand what I bring to the table. And what I was thinking was, English is not my first language because I'm multilingual. I can communicate in English, Spanish, Italian, assets for any multinational company. I'm an immigrant because I was born in Ecuador. I grew up in Spain, and I'm building a career in the UK. That shows that I'm multicultural, adaptable, and resourceful. Any company will be lucky to have me. See how different that sounds? The truth is, and this is something that you have to know, is that if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. Understanding which one is your worth, power, and unique strengths is crucial, so you can recognize what you bring to the table and you can gain confidence to advocate for yourself and grow your career. To summarize, the journey of a first-generation immigrant in building a successful career is not an easy one. It's filled with a deep fear of failure, lack of representation, lack of connections, and lack of confidence in ourselves. And the truth is, only some of us are making it through. Partly because of the resourcefulness, resilience, resistance, and determination that comes from our backgrounds, partly because of good luck. Maybe we had a friend who helped us apply to university. Maybe we met someone by accident who gave us career advice. Or simply, we maybe stumbled upon some piece of information that helped us land a job. Being in the right place at the right time shouldn't be a deciding factor in our success. Building a successful career as a first-generation immigrant shouldn't be left to chance. It should be the norm. First-generation immigrants shouldn't have to work twice as hard, constantly reinvent the wheel, and hope to find someone along the way that can help us. First-generation immigrants deserve the direct access to resources, opportunities, and connections that make career growth possible. So, if you are in a privileged position and you know a first-generation immigrant, reach out to them, offer your help, become a mentor, offer some piece of career advice, or even 30 minutes of your time, because you can literally be changing someone's life, like someone changed mine at some point. We are, those that are here today, the living proof that our parents' efforts of leaving their home, their countries, their families were worth it. Now, let's make sure that we empower those that come after us so they don't have to struggle alone and they can reach that better future they are looking for. Thank you.